And so in this roadmap right here, we're going to cover the fastest way for you to improve your mental health. The roadmaps are kind of like the super, super fast and efficient step-by-step process, kind of like a quest guide. If you remember playing video games and you were doing quests and you click on like the little guide page and it shows you step-by-step what you need to do. This is what you need to do to half your mental health scores, basically to improve your mental health significantly. So step one, get your scores. There's 3 links at the top of this post that will take you to a questionnaire that you can take for depression, anxiety, and ADHD. So all you need to do is just open up the link, go with the depression one first, and I'll show you exactly how to do the questionnaire, right? So you're pulled to this kind of page here, and you basically just need to read it over and choose which option that most accurately describes your answer to this question. At the same time, a few guys have asked me oh, but what if my answer's somewhere in the middle? It's bro, just choose one. Don't overthink it too much. So if it says I feel overwhelmingly sad at some times, we need to make sure we read into this, because I'll just tell you, as a psychologist, I have a psychology degree, right? Basically, there's some questions which are made to make sure that you're paying attention, because they kind of trick you and they flip it around. Basically, when you read the text, make sure you read each box properly, because some questions are sort of backwardly flipped, which means that you need to actually pay attention. Don't just do this very quickly, okay? So I feel overwhelmingly sad at times. We can say that, for example, I definitely agree with that, which means that I do feel sad at times. When I think of the future, I feel hopeless. So if I put I definitely agree, that means that, for example, a lot of the time I feel hopeless about the future. If I put definitely disagree, that would mean that I don't feel hopeless, right? So we'll go through this together. I feel like a complete failure. Let's go. I get a lot of joy and satisfaction. So this is the interesting one. This is the flip question, right? Because if you just put definitely agree, technically that would be that you had good mental health, and it would be the opposite of the last few questions that we had. So if I was quite depressed, as I put for the first few questions, and what I would do is I'd actually say, wait, I get a lot of joy. No, I don't actually. So that's definitely disagree. I feel guilty about doing something. Let's go. Yes, I do. I'm really depressed. I feel like I'm being punished. Yes, I'm really depressed. I feel disappointed. I'll go with this. The bad things in my life aren't all my fault. Yes, you know what? It's other people and it's other circumstances. Yeah, I feel like crying all the time. Yeah, I am irritated. I'm very interested in other people's lives and like to listen to them. No, because I feel depressed, I don't really like to listen to other people. I find it easy to make decisions. No, I don't actually. I think I'm unattractive. Yes, I do. I find it really hard to do anything. My sleep patterns are really bad. I am so tired. My appetite has changed. I've lost a lot of weight, or maybe I've gained a lot of weight. I'm very concerned with my health, and I don't really want to have sex or anything, and I've thought about ending my life. We go through those, and then we get this result right here. So with each of the 3 tests, once you've taken the test as honestly as possible, what I want you to do is to take a screenshot of this page right here. On your PC, I'm pretty sure it's there's an easy button or something. On MacBook, there's Shift Command 5. It opens up this screen, make it big enough, and then we can see what score we got. So depression test results, make sure you keep that bit in so we can see which test it was. And you can see that I got 60, which is one of the highest you can get in this. Just answer it as honestly. Obviously, I chose the really extreme ones. I'm fine. This wasn't my real test, right? So we've got the depression score. Then we go through, the anxiety score. So I won't do these fully now, but you can just see it. So we open up the anxiety score and then start going through this. And then we take a screenshot of that. Then we open up the ADHD score and we go through the questions and we take a screenshot of that. When you get that score, screenshot it, save it, write it down in your note page, something like that, just so you can see. And this is kind of your before picture. You know how in a fitness physique picture, you take a before picture, then you take the after picture. That score, the screenshot you're about to get, will be the before picture. Step 2, make the habit tracker. So to track the actions that we need to take to get the result that we want, we're going to use a habit tracker, which will keep us accountable, and it'll just be so easy to see where we may be slacking on. If you've got the balls to do this, you'll make so much more progress. So I'll jump in screen and I'll show you how to make the habit tracker now. You're going to make this on paper, right? Please, if you could just trust me. So many guys ask me, can I do this on a computer? And I always tell them, look, you can, but I guarantee you'll literally make less progress. So I know that you feel kind of like tired. You don't want to stand up right now, but fucking stand up. Go and get a piece of paper, go and get a pen, and make this on paper, and I'll show you exactly how to design this. So I'm going to draw it on my PC just so you can see it on the screen recording, but you do it on paper, okay? Our habit tracker is going to look like this, where we're going to have the days going down on the side. So we're going to write 1, 2, 3, all the way to 14. So you go ahead and do that right now. Make sure you actually fill it out. So like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, okay, all the way to 14. So you do that. Then we can have like a little line here. Then what we're going to do is we're going to have the habits that we're going to get into. So I'm just going to write, or I'll write it in text as well, actually, with you. And so at the top, the header is going to be meditate. That's going to be one of our actions right there. Then the next one is going to be gratitude. So make sure you just follow along with me as I do this right now. We got gratitude. Then the next one is going to be exercise. And the next one is going to be read. This is what our habit tracker looks like. And then if you want, you can just have like a separation in between each line there. Like this. So this is what our habit tracker kind of looks like. Yours hopefully looks a little bit nicer than mine. Remember, this goes all the way down, right? 5, 6, 7, 8, whatever. So this is what our habit tracker is. So once you have a page like this symbolizes the day that we're on of this sort of roadmap. And this symbolizes the daily habits that we're going to get into. The reason why I really recommend that you do this on paper, I know that there's going to be so many guys who are still doing, they're like, oh, whatever, it's the same. Please, as the guy who has literally helped like thousands of men on self-improvement, I'm telling you, the guys who don't do it on paper always get worse results. It's that simple. It's just like the kind of man who like thinks, oh, well, I'm not going to follow this advice and I'll just like do it on the computer because it's a bit easier. That's the kind of character of a man who's often going to get less results in life anyway. So make sure you've got it on paper. You've got the exact layout, just like this. Obviously these numbers, like I just can't be bothered like writing it all, but you get what I mean? That goes all the way to 14 and then stick it up right above your computer. Once you've got the habit tracker, stick it up on your wall somewhere that you can see so easily, because that gives you such a good level of accountability. I've just moved into this new place in Bali and I've literally still done this practice as well. My habit tracker is right, I'm trying to point to it right there. You see that shit, right? Right there on my wall. I'm a grown man. And I still fucking do it, right? So I have the cleaners come in every day. I have my friends and everything like that. And they see my habit tracker as well. Because the reason why I want that is because if someone's going to come over into my room, maybe it's like your parents or anything, you want them to see that you've been checking off the boxes, don't you? As long as you don't lie, as long as you keep yourself accountable, that's such a powerful extra source of like motivation to make sure that you're going to check off the habits that we're about to go start. Step 3. The mindset. So before we really begin with the actions that you need to take, I need to explain the mindset behind them. You might disagree with this mindset, but I urge you to just follow exactly what I say for this, okay? We have all these boxes in our habit tracker. For you to be able to check the box, you literally just need to do 1 second of that action. So you know how in our habit tracker we have like meditation and journaling. If you do just 1 second of meditation, like one breath, you get to check the box. If you do just 1 sentence of gratitude journaling, you get to check the box. You might be thinking, wait, but 1 second's like not enough to get progress. Yeah. We're not really trying to make gains here. This is to instill like some positive momentum in you. It's kind of like going to the gym and starting with the empty bar, and it's so easy to press that. And then the next week you go and you put on 2.5 kg each side, then 5, then 7.5. It allows you to build it up. But if we set this minimum standard, that is just 1 second, that means that even on your worst possible day, like, you know, that day when you're in that sort of like dirty goblin Jeffrey mode, even on that day, you should still be able to check off every single box, right? Imagine that like worst day, you know, the day where you relapse on NoFap and then you just do it another 3 times and you've ate shit food and, you know, you feel like horrible and you scroll and whatever. Just before you go to sleep, you should be able to still check off every box, right? Imagine you like had such a bad day, you feel awful, but you look at the habit tracker, you're like, fuck it, come on. 1 second, go on then. You write down 1 thing, you do 1 push-up. The reason why this is so impactful is because it shows you that even on your worst days, you can actually turn that around. And here's the truth, right? You get to check the box if you do the minimum, just 1 second. But chances are you're going to sit there and do 1 breath of meditation, and you might stick around to do another 2 or 3 or 5 or 20. You can get down and do 1 push-up and then check the box. But if you're already down to do 1 push-up, you might end up doing 1 full set to failure. Now, if you just do just the 1 second, you can check the box. That means that it's so easy for you to feel like, yeah, fuck it, I'm not going to miss like a single checkbox of this habit tracker, right? You shouldn't miss a single one because it's so easy, right? But you'll also find that you'll just almost accidentally, like out of fun, continue doing the good habits. So if you stick with this like progressive overload mindset, you'll make so much more progress, because it's not about what you do on your best days. It's about what you do on your worst days. Step number 4, doing the work. Now let's go over each habit and exactly my specific advice on how to do them. So for meditation, I recommend the Medito app, which is completely for free. It's run by volunteers, and it's an app that I've supported for about 4 years because I used all the big meditation apps like Headspace and Calm and Waking Up. And this was the app that I actually liked the best, and I still do to this day. So if you scroll up from this video, I've linked the link, or you can just go find it on the app store. It's called Medito. Go on to Medito, and then there'll be a daily meditation section. Stick on the 3-minute section. If you sit there for like 1 second, you get to check the box, but you just might stay around for 30 seconds or 60 seconds or even the full 3 minutes. Along with that, I just want to explain to you how meditation really works, just in cases you didn't understand. Because a lot of people think meditation is like having no thoughts in their mind. And when they do get a thought, they get really upset about it and they say, oh, but I can't meditate, I can't focus. Getting thoughts whilst you meditate is similar to hitting failure and experiencing the burn of your muscle when you train. Imagine if some kid said to you like, oh no, but I can't do push-ups because then my chest starts burning. You'd be like, well, yeah, that's like kind of like the point, right? When we meditate, it's not like we're trying to have 0 thoughts. We're specifically waiting till we get thoughts. And the moment we realize that we're thinking, we just bring our attention back to the breath. It's that action of bringing our attention back to the breath where we realize we have a thought. That's what meditation is. That's what improves your attention span, because you're constantly fighting to go back to the thing that you said you'd focus on. So when you do meditate, whether you use the Medito app or not, or whether you're doing this just for this 2-week roadmap or for the rest of your life, always just remember that when you do get a thought, that's not the bad thing. That's the point of meditation. All you've got to do is return back to the breath. And it's like you've gained some points, some experience in the meditation skill. Next, we have gratitude. And for gratitude, I recommend doing gratitude journaling. That's where you get like a notepad. You can do it on your phone if you want, but I will say every person who I've seen who does it on their phone or computer ends up getting way worse benefits than the guys who just aren't autistic and just have the effort to grab a piece of paper and a pen and just do it physically. And all you have to do is just write down some things that you're grateful for. So just like we said before, the minimum is what gets you the checkbox. So you could literally write down like 1 word, mother, and you'd get to check the box. But of course, if you're already going to open up the notebook and you're feeling like it, you can actually write more. So the way I would do this to make sure that you're getting like the most gains, I would write it full sentences. And I would sit there for a moment and actually let the emotion of gratitude come up. And I'd say something like really wholesome, like I'd write this down, right? I'm grateful for this light that I have here that I'm recording on. I just bought this like ring light, using one of these like apps in Bali, and one of the drivers dropped it off for me. And like, I don't know, this light was probably made in some factory in China. Some dude probably put it together with his own bare hands. And no one else around the world has ever looked to this product and said that they're grateful for that guy who made it. Suddenly, not only am I appreciating like another man's work, and it's making me feel connected to like another hard worker. Think about that for a second. Have you ever heard someone say that they're grateful for the sort of tripod ring light that they're using right now? How about for the desk that you're sat on? You probably are grateful for it, right? You probably like the desk that you're on or the device that you're on. But have you ever sat there and thought, yeah, I'm grateful for this. I'm glad like that company put it together. I'm grateful for Hamza. I'm grateful for my family. I'm grateful for this and this. Suddenly it's like you go from this sort of, kind of like arrogant state of like, oh, well, there's not much that I can be grateful for, to like you looking around and be like, man, like, I'm grateful for whoever plastered the walls in my house. They did a good job. I'm grateful for the air conditioning. When you become that person, I think you get so much respect from people because it's such an attractive trait to show gratitude. It's in every religion for a reason to like say grace. But along with that, what I found is when you gratitude journal and you look out for these random things that you can be grateful for, what happens is we're almost like manually like forcing, thoughts of gratitude right now. But the more times that you gratitude journal, the more that these thoughts of gratitude will arise in your brain automatically. So I found that like when I don't gratitude journal, I just kind of like, live my life like a normal guy. But when I do gratitude journal, I'll be like commuting, like going to the gym. And my brain will automatically say something it's grateful for. And, that puts you in like such a nice mood. And so if you want those like automatic, like pleasant thoughts, like the sort of subconscious automatic thoughts that just pop into your mind, even though you weren't really thinking about it. And it's actually like a really pleasant thought of you looking at something and being like, oh, I'm so grateful for that. Puts you in a great mood. Well, then gratitude journaling will make that more likely. So start gratitude journaling. As soon as you write down one word, you can check the box, but maybe write a couple of sentences. And then we have the exercise box. And for exercise, I'd actually recommend not using the sort of gym weightlifting session here, because that's what we do to make gains and to look really attractive, and that's awesome. But the kind of exercise that actually helped me mentally the most is what I called adventurous cardio. So it wasn't just cardio like running or cycling where, you're just saying, oh yeah, I'll go run a 5K or a 10K. It was when I would literally leave my house with this kind of like boyish feeling of wanting to go on an adventure and see something that I hadn't seen before. And so what I started to do was, this was in like 2020 at the start of COVID, I started to like just put on nice music, take my water bottle, and start running in random directions that I had never seen before. I'll show you on screen now, like if you look at the picture of a map from the game Grand Theft Auto, you probably played that game, right? Grand Theft Auto.
And basically when you play the game, you have like the map that you can be on. When you're first on the game, the map is all black up until your character has kind of went there. Then the map kind of lights up and gets color. Does that make sense? So the map starts really black, and then once you've explored an area, it's got color. I started to visualize this and I was like, you know what? The place that I live, there would be quite a lot of it that's black that I've never seen before. You imagine there's like two streets and I always take one street to go to work, whatever. But there's a road, a street, a house that I have never seen in my life. I started to get this weird, like pleasant feeling where I was like, wait, like what if I just try and like brighten up the map of my neighborhood? So instead of running for speed, they're trying to take running really seriously. I started to run for adventure. I would run and then see a path that I had never taken, a road that I had never taken. And I'd just choose to go down that road with like this boyish sense of adventure.
So for this action step, go out on like a run or a walk or a cycle every single day if you can. It won't take too long, and this is really good cardio, so it'll improve like your ability to like sprint, your ability to recover, to talk longer. If you're old enough and you've got like a woman you love, it'll drastically improve your sex life with her as well. Now all the guys are like, oh, okay, now I'll do it, right? Honestly, this was one of the most transformative habits that I had. Finally, the last box of our habit tracker is reading. And so for the reading part of your habit tracker, I highly recommend this book that I've never actually mentioned before, and it's called The Mountain Is You by Brianna West. I've just read it recently, and it's one of the best mental health books that I've ever read. And so I've attached like a free PDF. I just found one online, so I've put one there. You can go buy the book if you want, but I've put it here. And just start reading that, and you'll be so surprised of just how many good insights you'll get about your mental health. Step 5, stay accountable. So now you know what to do and you've got your habit tracker, you've pinned it up. This is the important part of the habit tracker. Stay accountable. Don't rip off the habit tracker. Don't cope and say like, oh, I need to change something, so I'll change it. I'll rip it off and I'll start again. Because I've done that so many times. The point of the habit tracker is not for you to have like a full page of ticks. The best use of a habit tracker is when it's up on your wall and you've actually missed a lot. How interesting is that? You know why? Because that's when it's going to be so apparent to you that, oh man, I've been slacking. So no matter what, keep your habit tracker on your wall and keep updating it. Be honest. Don't just check the box when you haven't done the habit. Please don't do that, because you're not going to like convince anyone else. But most importantly, you'll feel so shameful doing that. So don't lie. Don't rip it off the wall. Keep it up on the wall. Even if you mess up and you miss like 3-4 days in a row, Because what's really nice is you'll start to see trends and you'll be like, oh, that's interesting. I haven't done the exercise box once, but I've done the other three. And then you know, if you let your brain think, you're like, okay, well, how could I actually add in the exercise? Well, I've been trying to go after school, but I just don't have the time and I'm always tired. Like, what if I try and go on like a little run before school? And you start experimenting with that. So keeping the habit tracker up and staying accountable and just, you know, having the fucking balls to just keep it there, even if you've been fucking up. That's so important. So make sure you don't rip yours off for any reason. Step 6, half your scores in 2 weeks. So once you've been following the previous steps and you know what to do and you start going with that sort of minimum progressive overload mindset where if you just do 1 second, you can check the box. You just do that for 2 weeks. You read the book, you interact in the community, you go through a couple more of the roadmaps here in Adonis Health. 2 weeks after you took those 3 questionnaires, you know, the mental health tests for depression, anxiety, and ADHD, when it becomes 2 weeks after that, well then take the tests again and see what your scores are. And you might just be surprised that your scores will be halved, which means that you have halved your mental health symptoms. You've kind of like doubled your mental health, which is fucking insane to do that in 2 weeks. I've put on thousands of young men through this step-by-step roadmap, and the amount of young men who make more progress in 2 weeks following my advice compared to years of having therapists and coaches and counselors is absolutely insane. And that's why I've made this roadmap today. So what you need to do is go through those questionnaires, do each one again, be as honest as possible, and then screenshot the results. Once you've officially halved your number for any of the 3 or all of them, write a community post and tag it as the wins post category and just tell the story of what you did, what life was like before, and what you did that worked and how you feel now. What you can do is actually take a selfie of yourself, just smiling, looking happy, unless you've got a picture like that already, and add that into that post. And then also add in the full 6 screenshots. So you should have 3 screenshots of the mental health scores from 2 weeks ago, and then 3 screenshots of the most recent ones that you've taken, and add in all 6 so that everyone can look at the screenshots and be like, oh damn, like his score really did improve by that much. That's awesome. Finally, step 7, lead others. So when you've made really good progress and you've basically doubled your mental health, one thing that you can do to take this further is to start helping other guys in the community. So there's another influencer, like entrepreneur, and his name's Luke Belmar. And he told me this quote, which is something I'll never forget. And he said, when one teaches, 2 learn. So when you've made pretty good progress and you're feeling pretty nice about your life and you feel so much better mentally, if you start helping the other students and you know, give advice to them and you reply to their posts and you write posts yourself and you tell your story, you'll be able to create such a big impact, and you might find a lot of purpose and fulfillment and like meaning in your life because of that. And with those things, you might find that your scores keep improving more and more. You can go onto the community post and look out for guys who you think would really benefit from going down this roadmap. And you can send them the link, you can tell them to go through it, you can open up this roadmap, all 7 steps right in front of you, and then go on a call with someone and see where they're up to in each step and walk them through the same process that worked for you. When you're onto this step and you're helping others and you've become a leader, I have so much respect for you. That's like the shit that I really love myself. I became a leader when I was like 21, 22 years old, helping other men make the progress that I've made. And so when you get to this step and you're the guy whose face I always see in Adonis Health, who's always popping up, helping the other students in here, you've got a lot